This is Minutia Man with Rick and Dave.
So I picked up Lila this past week from college.
Yeah?
Yeah, Sean's got to be coming home soon, right?
Yeah, he's coming home tomorrow.
When did he end classes? 3 weeks ago?
Wednesday or something. I mean, he's...
God love him.
He just...
he's carpe diem.
He really is.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I pick up Lila. I get there like, I don't know, 9 o'clock in the morning. I left pretty early. And the first thing that she said to me when she saw me was, what do you think it was? So she comes down. What do you think she said?
Go upstairs and get my boxes.
Well, she goes, I've got to go get my free coffee from this coffee shop. I don't remember what the name of it was. Okay. It wasn't, hi, Dad, I love you. Thank you for all that you've done for me. It says, I've got a free coffee and it's going to expire at the end of this week, so I got to get it today. I'm like, okay.
Wow, she is a chip off the old block.
Nice to see you, honey. So, of course, then I go up and gag. We get all the boxes, bring it down to the car and everything. And while we're doing it, she must have reminded me twice. You know, we got to get this free coffee from Cafe before we leave out of town. I'm like, okay, honey, whatever. So, on the way to get her free coffee, she goes, are you hungry? Because there's a dorm right here. And I had not eaten in a dorm in 30.
And you used to work, if I remember right, in like food services.
I was the guy that when you put the tray on the cafeteria in the conveyor belt, I'm the guy that you had a unslop. I think it was called slop, actually, where you just had to remove all the food. I'm getting nauseous just thinking about
gig.
It. Right. But so we go to her dorm or one of the dorms. So she wasn't living in a dorm, but she ended up having like a little dining. Don't keep looking at the clock. The story will have an end. Just don't worry. All right.
Okay.
So so we go to one of the dorms.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. I mean, you remember when we went to our dorms were prison food, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just these
veal. I remember our dorm served something called veal birds, which was an unidentifiable, like grayish meat with a chunk of white stuff inside.
And did you also remember whenever it was Dad's Day or Mom's Day weekend, it was like steak,
right? Yeah, exactly.
The next day it's grilled cheese. But these, I mean, the cafeteria that I went to was great. It was like a food court. It had like a little pasta station called Penny Lane. Get it?
Oh,
So anyway, so we walk in there and she swipes her card, her ID, and I can see on the screen $197 on her account.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what's going to happen to this $192? We're leaving.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know. And then I'm like, whoa. Yeah. You are so worried about your $2 cup of coffee, and there's $84 in dining. She's like, I guess, yeah. So what do you think I did?
So you bought $184 worth of penny pasta.
We went to, they have like little convenience stores.
Yeah.
And I should have brought one.
I got some Ho-Hos.
We've got Doritos. We've got like 8 boxes of Ritz. I've got, little Slim Jims. I got ramen noodles. It was like, but I just think it's hilarious. She could not have cared less for that, but she wanted her free cup of coffee.
Did you get the free coffee?
No, I said, we are not getting the cup of coffee.
That'll show her.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we have a show to do. Let's do it.
Wasn't that the show?
The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie production on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Minutia Man with Rick and Dave.
And the eggs, I actually even post the picture of my eggs on Facebook. I don't know if you saw it or not.
No, I didn't.
Not very good. It's all lipstick on a pig. Because, I think the food is still crap, but it's in a much nicer presentation.
Okay.
Rick, you know how the United States is on the precipice of defaulting on our debt?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
With the debt ceiling
impasse.
And the Republicans are urging for massive spending cuts.
Yes.
Right? Well, they might have a point here. Okay.
All right.
In a federally funded research project, scientists,
quote unquote,
at the University of Oregon Institute of Neuroscience are trying to answer the age-old question, do worms get stoned? Okay. The study
again. What a great use of our research facilities.
Federally funded research. The study consisted of feeding Canarba habidid, a type of roundworm, 5 different bacterial entrees laced with varying levels of cannabinoids. Okay. And they measured how aggressively they ate after they were given the thing. This might come as a huge surprise to you, okay, that the cannabinoid increased the worm's appetite, resulting in consuming over 600% more food. Okay.
Well, they should get a hold of you because you have all this food now from school.
We give them Ritz crackers, whatever. In another experiment, they made a maze, okay, and the worms that were given the most pot found the food at the end of the maze far quicker than any of the other worms. This is a follow-up study by the University of Oshkosh, where they injected THC into the spinal fluid of rats and set them loose on some chocolate cake batter. I am not making this up.
Wow.
And of course, the rats that had more THC infused in their spinal ate more chocolate batter, right?
So news on the march.
I know. Heavy hitting. But this reminds me of a story. Do you remember when we got Dave Priest's hamster high in college?
No, doesn't ring a bell. Sounds like I think that was...
He's lying.
I think that was somebody else.
Scott was taking care of Dave Priest's hamster.
Uh-huh.
And I believe Dave Priest even said, as he was going out the door, don't let them get my hamster high. Right?
That's hard to believe. That doesn't sound like us.
And we put the hamster in a paper bag.
Uh-huh.
In case you don't remember.
No.
And we blew smoke into the paper bag.
No.
And Scott, who was taking care of Dave Priest's hamster, walks in and he goes, "You're not getting the hamster high, are you?" And as he said that, the little paper bag opened up, a big puff of smoke came out, and the little hamster's head came out with like red eyes. So there you go.
That story was completely made up, just so you know. Especially to the PETA people and the what's the ASCAP? No, what's the one?
APS, SPCAA or whatever. Yeah.
Our apologies. Our apologies for the young us's.
It's statute of limitations on
it's got to be
rodents and marijuana.
40 some years, right?
Think it's fine.
All right. Well, I have a story for you that takes place on a highway.
Why doesn't the hamster want to run on the wheel anymore? God, is he lazy? What a lazy hamster.
That hamster has no ambition whatsoever. Commuters on a Colorado highway are raising a stink after a sewer truck spill left their vehicles covered in fecal matter.
Oh.
Yes. The Colorado State Patrol confirmed that the sewer truck spilled waste into the eastbound lanes of Interstate 76 near Highway 224 interchange in Adams County just after 5 p.m. on Monday this week. Nico Blankenship told KUSA-TV he was behind the truck when some kind of dung started to spray from the top of the trailer. Blankenship said that his car still smells of waste after several cleanings. Not really sure what to do next. Just hope it goes away. Just thankful my windows and sunroof were closed, he said. Another driver's dashboard camera footage shows both lanes of the highway covered in a sludgy brown mess. The Colorado State Police said the spill was not considered a hazmat situation. A trucking contract company would be out there handling the cleanup, but the highway was closed on Tuesday afternoon to remove the mess.
So there's a company that's going to clean this up.
Yes.
Wow.
Now, I know this sounds like a disgusting story.
Yeah. No.
And it is disgusting. But you know who was high-fiving everybody they knew?
No.
Radio traffic reporters. Radio traffic reporters live for moments like this.
Well, because their jobs are the same thing over and over
25
again.
minutes in
from blah, blah, blah,
right. They report travel times, construction zones, and on days like when something funny like this
Super
happens.
Bowl.
It is. They're allowed to freeform. They had the euphemisms for shit. The second this news came out, they were
using ChatGPT. Generate me.
The truck built a dookie castle. The truck curled some pipe on the interstate. The truck dropped a deuce on. The truck launched a butt shuttle onto highway. The truck planted some corn, poked the turtle's head out, took the Browns to the Super Bowl. Unloose the caboose.
Take the Browns to the Super Bowl.
Deployed the USS Brownfish on Interstate 76. All of that is what was going on in radio traffic reporter land.
Honey, how was work today? It was great.
It was the best. Right. A whole pile of shit all over the highway.
I doubted this career until today. Hey, we got a review. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Rarely do you find a podcast where the hosts don't take themselves too seriously.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Rick and Dave are lots of laughs. That's from Laney55 on Apple Podcasts.
Well, thank you, Laney55. If you like Minutia Man, be sure to check out some of the other programs on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. You can pick out your favorite new show at opishows.com. And remember that Opie is hippo backwards, OPPIH shows.com. Now, we do a regular feature every week that we call Studio Walls.
Time now for Studio Walls.
And the words of the prophets were written on the studio walls.
So this is the part of the show where we dip into the Rick and Dave archives and we play some previously recorded stuff that we think you may enjoy.
Repurposing content is what we call it.
Okay, yeah, that sounds a little clinical, but yeah, that's what we're doing. Right. That's what we're doing. And this week is Mother's Day. This weekend is Mother's Day. So I went back into the archives and pulled out some, when I worked in radio and we had kids.
Oh, that was just
Mother's Day was like a Broadway show every year. We created these, Broadway shows. But I found this week, the first Mother's Day. Bridget's first Mother's Day.
26 years ago or
1996.
27 years ago.
27 years ago. And I'm going to play just a little bit of it. This is John Landecker. That's the show I was on in 1996, calling Bridget to ask how I did on her first Mother's Day.
Oh, okay.
Okay, here we go.
Oldies 104.3 WJMK, The Wanderer. That's Dion, John Ricketts Landecker, and Vicky Truax. And there's the sound of little Tommy Kempfer, son of Bridget Kempfer.
Hello.
Hello. And Rick, the German boy Kempfer, producer of the John Landecker program. How are you, Mom?
Oh, I'm fine.
Good.
Fine.
Yesterday, of course, was your very first Mother's Day.
Yes, it was.
And how did Rick do?
Rick did wonderful.
What did he do?
Well, he got up and got Tommy first thing in the morning.
Uh-huh. What time was that?
That's always a good one.
7:30.
Oh, big deal. For Rick, that's sleeping in.
Not on Saturday and Sundays.
Come on.
Well,
7:30, that's no stretch. What time does he get up to go to work here?
Well, during the week.
Yeah, what time does he get up?
3:30.
All right. So, see, he's a smart guy. I've done this before. Honey, I'll get up with the baby.
Of course, it's 4 hours later than I usually get up.
But shh. Okay, I'm sorry. Don't try to. I'm not trying to spoil. All right.
Yeah.
So he got up.
If you think he's okay, well
Okay,
then
he got up with Tommy. Then what did he do?
And he brought me breakfast in bed.
What was it? Cornflakes?
No.
Had your own milk?
Well, we were going over to Rick's sister's house for a Mother's Day meal.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to eat too
so
much.
I did not want anything big. I knew ahead of time this was happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, just bring me some, frozen waffles, which is my favorite breakfast.
Did he bother cooking them, or were they still frozen?
No, they were toasted. They were very nice.
Wait,
Did you have a little syrup?
No, I don't like syrup.
So you just have frozen waffles with nothing?
Butter. With so much butter, it's sickening.
Oh, well, that's good. In every little square?
Yep.
Okay, so we have frozen
And
waffles
coffee.
and coffee.
And milk. And some pinwheel cookies. And
All the food groups are represented there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Gotta have some sugar in the morning.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
I hear a baby.
There's Tommy.
Yes,
He's getting
Tommy.
ready. He's got to eat right now.
well, he's got a couple more.
All right, Tommy, we'll get to you.
And what?
Then
I
you
got a
drove
nice
out?
present. I got a a little portable massager for my back. A little electric thing.
What's his name?
Can I talk to you? I'll talk to you off the air about that.
Oh, it's really cool.
All right, girls.
I can stop it there.
Wow, that got.
I really, honestly, never thought of that when I gave it.
Sure.
It said back massager on the box.
Yeah,
it never occurred to me it could be taken another way.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah.
Were those pinwheel cookies? Were those the Maurice Linnell?
Yes. Yes, they're the best
for breakfast.
Yes. So that was the first Mother's Day when I was in radio.
When you still cared.
Yeah, and this was the last one, all right? So every year we started doing these recordings for her with the boys. And I think at this last one, Tommy is 10 years old.
Okay.
And Tommy was 7. And Sean was just born.
Okay.
Right? And Johnny was like 3 or 4.
Oh, okay.
And so I warn you, there's a couple of words in here that are hard to understand, right? So Johnny used to say these words that made no sense. Like when he got really mad, he'd say, "You go to jail, you learn to cut." Which we never really quite understood what that meant, but that is included in this song. All right, this is called the Mother's Day Rap.
Okay,
and this was in our final year of doing the radio show.
It's Mother's Day rap song, and I am Tom. I'm rapping with my brothers Johnny and Sean. This is our present for Mother's Day. Johnny is here because he likes to say "Vaga." I'm here with my homies, and my name is Tom. We're doing this rap song for our mom. This is our present for Mother's Day. Take your brother Johnny, tell her what you say. Hello to God. Wrapping up the rap song for our mom. From your boys, Tommy, Johnny, and Sean. Hope you have a trip in Mother's Day. Sean is here to end it. Sean, what you say? Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Hey, that's a wrap. That's a wrap.
Wow, that was good.
Isn't that good?
That's courtesy of Vinny, I'm sure.
Of course, it's Vince. And if you heard the raw tape of that, it was probably terrible. And,
it was probably 7 hours, right?
And Vince is a magician and created that. But that was the final audio present that Bridget ever got, because then Vince was not available to me all the time, so I stopped doing it.
Now, did you know, when did you guys get let go?
We got fired in like September of...
Was the writing already on the wall?
Yeah, I mean, I basically high-fived the guy when he fired us. I mean, he was trying to talk us... He was trying to make us quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying, Mother's Day, so it's May.
Yeah.
So you had, what, 4 months... Oh, wait, did you say September is when you got whacked?
September.
So you had 4 months, and this was in the period of mailing it in, right?
Oh, yeah.
But that was not mailing it in. That was that the most effort you did?
See, here's the thing. When I was mailing it in, it's still better than most people working hard, because that's how good I was.
Hold on, let me go back to that review. Rarely do you find a podcast where the hosts don't take themselves too seriously. Yeah, I think that's applicable to you.
Gotcha.
Hey, I got another story. This comes out of Kansas.
Okay.
Driver wearing beer can costume arrested for drunk driving in Kansas. A man in Kansas who is wearing a beer can costume has been arrested for allegedly drunk driving at the local sheriff's office, and the local sheriff's office couldn't help but share the news on social media. A career in law enforcement is exciting, and you get to experience something new every day. Sometimes you see things you just can't believe, the Franklin County Sheriff's Office began in its Facebook post. According to authorities, deputies were now notified about a possible drunk driver. He was weaving, traveling on nearby Interstate 35 last Friday. Those deputies were able to locate the vehicle, and they pulled over the vehicle, and the suspected drunk driver came out wearing a Bud Light costume. And here's a picture of it, and it's, you see his head, you see his arms, you see his legs, and wearing a Bud Light costume. Right? Yeah. Now you might be wondering, why was this guy wearing a Bud Light costume?
I was
wondering
in the
middle of, or in the beginning of May or whatever. Well, it appears he was driving home from a protest against Anheuser-Busch for the
for crying out
with
loud.
the Dylan Mulvaney, that whole whatever. So, needless to say, he's in a little bit of, he's in a little bit of hot water. But while I was doing research for this, I just stumbled upon, this is unrelated, but that's okay, an unrelated little tidbit. In 1994, Los Angeles police arrested a man for dressing up as the Grim Reaper and ringing the doorbell of old people's houses. So when they opened it, they would see the Grim Reaper.
Well, living up to the name, I guess, right?
What a jag, but a funny, clever jag.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Just
that's. Are you sure that this wasn't you?
No, it was 1994. I was
Were you the bud can guy?
No, I was not the bud can guy.
All right. Just
and if you look at the picture,
yeah.
you'll see that the bud can that he's wearing, the costume, it's smashed. Because, to protest.
Okay, yes, because it's outrageous that
it's
the
an absolute travesty.
I cannot believe
we should spend
that.
as much time as possible on this.
Wow. Okay. Well, I've got a story for you. This is back to my fatherland, Germany. German police say a 51-year-old man who was left tied up in the woods when a sex game went awry had a lucky escape after a cyclist.
Can I stop you for a second? All right, German.
Yeah.
It's in Germany.
Yeah.
German man. Mm-hmm. Presumably a German woman or man or whatever.
Presumably, yes. Yeah.
Sex game.
Yeah.
What would a German sex game be? Is it like, okay, I'm the stoic train conductor and you're the late passenger? What would be the...
Okay, listen. Let me just say this.
Hide the sauce?
Germans are very sexual beings. Okay?
Okay.
Anyway, he had a lucky escape after a cyclist and hunter heard his screams for help. The police said the man was discovered fully dressed.
Yeah. Okay, so see... That's what I get with
fully dressed.
When I think of German sex games, they're fully dressed.
Yeah, believe me, it's going to get even more German here. But firmly bound with ropes and a pantyhose over his head atop a deer hunting platform in the town of Buickburg late Wednesday. Naja, Helmut and Gunther approached the victim and he was very efficiently tied to the tree, but the pantyhose were not deployed in the proper location. Right. In a statement Friday, the police said the man appeared to be have been tied up by a woman he met online, and after he had done so, the woman received a phone call and fled the woods suddenly, leaving the man behind, helpless and tied. This is the best part of the article. The 51-year-old told officers that he had a box cutter on him for such situations.
You can never be too careful.
But seemed to have underestimated the woman's bondage skills because
she was great.
Unable to reach the knife. Can you hear the admiration in the police's comments there? This woman, incredible bondage skill. The man's forethought of carrying a box cutter for such situations. You never know.
Yeah.
It was the ultimate battle of sexually efficient crowds. And in this case, the woman won. Yeah. The man was unharmed and refused to provide information about the woman's identity. But I think we can all agree that this was something that... we'd love to see more about, wouldn't you?
Well, I'm surprised it'd probably be a Netflix series soon.
Yeah. Hey, Bridget,
German sex game.
The long guy is here. We discussed this before we started recording. We're recording a podcast right now, and Bridget is in the kitchen, away from the front door. The lawn guy I can see on the driveway. And he needs to fix our lawnmower, but I can't exactly in the middle of the podcast go out and work the lawnmower. And I'm usually all the mechanical stuff. That's usually my job because I'm super handy.
Yeah. So you just assumed in the middle of the podcast just to yell to Bridget to go ahead and This reminds me of when we had Jim McMahon on and he got his dryer.
It's
dryer delivered.
Like hey, we're real. You want slickly
editing, schmediting.
You want slickly produced shows?
Don't come here, baby.
Go elsewhere. Although we do have another feature. And it's time for it right now.
A random name pulled out of Rurik's bowl of brushes with celebrities. Mixture, collection, selection, assemblage, medley, assortment, variety. Time now for Celebrity Potpourri with Rick and Dave.
So this is the part of the show where we share your emails to us. And people send in their brushes with greatness. We request them. We enjoy them, and I try to pick out the ones that are most interesting.
Last week's was
great.
It's Nadia Comaneci. I mean, we'll see.
Go back and listen to it and check it out. This one comes from a man or woman named Chris. I guess you never know with Chris. It could be either. And here it is. I recognized the celebrity once just by hearing his voice. We were at a Dominic's supermarket in Chicago. I was looking at the cereal boxes. I had a Cocoa Puffs box in my hand when I heard a laugh and someone say, "Out of sight." on the other side of the aisle. I recognized that laugh and voice right away. I darted up and around the aisle to get to the next aisle, the bread aisle, and there he was, signing an autograph for a fan. It was Wolfman Jack.
Wow.
And I didn't have anything for him to sign except my box of Cocoa Puffs, but he signed it. I still have it all these years later, and he sent a picture of the box. It says, Rock and Roll, Wolfman Jack.
Oh, my God, that's fantastic.
What a nice man, and love your show. That's from Chris.
Oh, that's
a good one.
Did I ever tell you the story with George Lucas?
Yes.
Okay.
I think last week. And maybe the week before that, too.
It's 6 weeks ago, 11 weeks ago.
The week before that, too. But that's okay. You know, you're getting to the age, Dave, where this sort of thing happens.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I teach. So I teach, I'm a big old fancy professor.
Yeah.
And I routinely start telling a story, and a student will go, "Yeah, you told that story."
Is that true?
Yeah, it's happened.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. All right, so we have another show that is called Minutia Men Celebrity Interview. Why don't you tell everybody who we have on that show right now? If you tune in,
we had a really wonderful chance to talk to Walter Shapiro. You may not know who Walter Shapiro is. Perhaps you went to Hebrew school with a guy named Walter Shapiro. Yeah. Perhaps he's your accountant. But he wrote a book called Hustling Hitler, and it's about his great uncle who stole, well, I don't want to give too much away, but he stole some money from the Nazis during World War II.
Do we need to say any more?
Exactly,
than that?
there. Right.
If you don't think that is worth listening to, I mean, it actually, I just listened to it last night. It's
fascinating
excellent.
Story.
And Walter Shapiro is a media guy.
He's very famous. He writes for
The New Republic, I believe.
And Roll Call and
he's
Rolling Stone.
He's written for all the big publications. He's a great storyteller.
Yep.
You should listen to it. A couple of times we jump in and guess the punchline before he gets to it, but it doesn't mean they're not great.
We do what we do. We
are who we are.
You can't turn it off.
And here's something I was looking for earlier, Dave. You ready for this before we go?
Alert. Dave, you've already told this story on a previous episode of Minutia Men. That's the end of the alert. End of alert. Alert over.
So one thing you're guaranteed to get on this show is a repeat story from Dave and Rick not finding the audio in a timely fashion.
When I tell a story, it's called repurposing content.
Okay.
That's what it's called.
Gotcha. Well, we have people to thank. We have to thank
we thank them every week. Why do we do it again?
Because we are thankful every week, Dave. Special thanks to our executive producer, Tony Lasana with opishows.com. Opie is hippo backwards, OPPIH shows.com. We're distributed by Ed Silla with Radio Misfits. Great Talk Radio isn't dead. It just moved to a better place, radiomisfits.com. And we'll be back again next week with hopefully no lawn interruptions.
Yeah. Well,
but if they happen, they happen.
Like you say, keeping it real, baby.
Keeping it real.
That's what the kids like.
We'll be back again.
It's our street cred.
Exactly. We'll be back again next week with a brand new episode of
Minutia Men.
The preceding was a presentation of Opie Productions. Find our other great shows wherever you find podcasts, including opishows.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?
You're distracted.
I see now this huge truck next to your house. That is one hell of a lawn guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an impressive truck.
Well, and he's just here to fix the lawnmower. But I don't know what the deal is. But
you know why it doesn't work?
It's the thingy. The thingy's not working.
Okay.
I have no idea.